This original WSRE presentation is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Lloyd Patterson. Welcome to CTC Connecting the Community. Northwest Florida seems to get more serious about recycling every year. Tonight we're talking about the latest efforts to broaden recycling programs with leaders in the field. Jim Reese is Okaloosa County's recycling coordinator and serves on the board of a statewide recycling program. Rick Harris is superintendent for Okaloosa County's environmental department, including management of the household hazardous waste facility. And Natalie Bowers is here from the Emerald Coast Utilities Authority, which recently expanded its successful household recycling program to include hazardous materials. Good evening. Welcome to all of you. Thank you very much for coming in.
Good evening.
Thank you.
One recycling issue that probably is top of people's minds right now is, are you recycling any of the oil that's in the Gulf of Mexico? What are you doing? Are you playing any role in that, Natalie?
When the incident event began, we offered our assistance to Escambia County and to our local incident command folks and let them know we were here to help as soon as they needed us. We've played a very minor role up until now. Just recently we made available some 35-gallon containers for the beaches, Pensacola and Perdido, to serve as containers for any oil tar balls or any of those such oil-laden materials that people might be picking up. So
all right,
those are there.
Rick Harris, what's Santa Rosa County doing?
The Santa Rosa County Central Landfill, we did make it available to BP and through the command center and through our operations center, our emergency operations center. But the haulers that got the contract have their own landfill, so they chose not to use our central landfill, and so our part as far as landfill and all has been very minor.
All right, and Jim Reese, Okaloosa County playing any role?
Pretty much the same as the other two. It's being managed through our public safety office, environmental management, and we've taken the role just to coordinate staging areas. But our primary hauler, Waste Management, is under contract with BP, and they have a staging area at the transfer station in South Okaloosa County.
All right, if you just tuned in, this is Connecting the Community. I'm Lloyd Patterson. Tonight we're talking about recycling efforts and how they're growing in Northwest Florida in recent years. In fact, the Emerald Coast Utilities Authority just recently expanded its household recycling pickup program, Natalie Bowers, to include, you will now pick up some of the hazardous waste, and we have a list of what that might include when you're talking about household hazardous waste. I read where probably each household may have about 100 pounds or so of household wastes that be hazardous. They include paints, cleaners, oils, batteries, pesticides would be at the top of the list. Mm-hmm. How are you helping people get rid of this stuff, Natalie?
Well, our first pickup for this type of material is going to be on July 10th. Pickups are going to be on the first Saturday of every month. And what our customers need to do is call our customer service center and request the pickup. And this would include materials such as pool chemicals, fertilizers, paints and solvents, batteries or motor oils, and so those kinds of materials that you wouldn't necessarily throw away or certainly not pour down the drain.
Yeah, so you're making it really easy for people to get rid of this stuff. They don't even have to take it to a recycling center. Now, in Santa Rosa County, how are you helping get rid of these sort of hazardous household wastes?
Well, we have opened, as of January, we opened our household hazardous waste facility at the central landfill. We have made this available 6 days a week from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. There's no charge to drop off that material. It has really grown. We're up to, probably averaging around 50 customers per day. So, we move quite a bit of oil, quite a bit of paint, and other chemicals.
And in Okaloosa County, how is it going with the hazardous waste?
Well, we have a full-time facility in the south end of Okaloosa County that's open on Thursday afternoons for local residents. Again, there's no charge. On every third Saturday of the month, it's open to local residents. And in North Okaloosa County in Crestview, there is a satellite facility there that's open 5 days a week from 7 to 3:30. Folks can call. We do it by appointment, so they have to call in, make an appointment to come in so we can space out the workload.
Now we have the 3 major counties represented here on our program, as well should be since we cover Northwest Florida. But you guys in Okaloosa and Santa Rosa County, you make it harder for people, don't you? If you're not going to come, they can't call up Rick or Jim and say, come by the house and pick up my old paint cans, will you? Doesn't that make it cut participation quite a bit when you don't offer that kind of service?
Well, the way we look at it, Lloyd, is that we're so much farther ahead of where we were. We were having it, through Jim's assistance and through a FDEP grant. We had Amnesty Day, Household Hazardous Materials Amnesty Day, 1 day per year. Now we're open 6 days a week. Any hours that the landfill is open, we have someone at the household hazardous waste facility. It's inconvenient for the far south end. It's inconvenient somewhat for the north end, but it's been very well accepted. I mean, we've had a lot of compliments about it and a lot of people saying, we're really glad you're doing that, and I'm very pleased and somewhat surprised at the number of people that will drive across the bridge to come, to get rid of their household poisons, pesticides, paints, oil.
So people are participating. It's
very,
just that
very much, and it's growing. And yes, we would like to get a facility in the south end. We are working toward that. And at some point in time, maybe a facility in the north end of our county to enhance the program. But we do feel like we've made it better. We've made it easier by having the program that we have now. We are far ahead of what we were last year. It's not going in the landfill, and maybe it's not going in people's yards and around their fences and things like that. So we're very pleased with our program and just really feel like it's going to continue to grow.
Yeah, you get your household waste, if you're Emerald Coast Utilities customers, that you give them a call and then they'll pick it up and you put it right by your doorstep. You don't put it out by the street, but people have cans like this all over the house, and in their garages and their sheds, stuff that they don't really know what to do with, and it's not a good thing to just stick that in your regular trash. Jim Reese, wouldn't you feel like you'd get, it just seems to me that would make sense. The people, the easier you make it to participate in something, the way Emerald Coast does with the curbside pickup or the household pickup, that you're going to get much better participation than you would in Okaloosa, where people have to go to some work.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But we're constrained by the funding that's available. Our program is fully funded through 10 cooperative arrangement grants that we have with 10 counties across the Panhandle. We provide the same service on an annual basis to from every county from Santa Rosa to, well, Santa Rosa has a program, but we're still working with them funding an Amnesty Day event. So from Santa Rosa all the way to Gadsden County minus Gulf, we service those counties on an annual basis. We derive funding from that, but that funding is limited in as much as trying to provide that service as they are at ECUA. We'd love to do that, and maybe as our program or our funding grows, we would move in that direction. They control their destiny in as much as they are a collection agency. Ours is based on a contract with a private hauler, so we can't just institute something. It has to be done at the end of a contract or the beginning of a new contract to put in a new program. So we don't have that luxury to just adapt and adjust that way.
Seems like everything always seems to come down to money, no matter what,
Yes.
no matter what program you're talking about, whatever.
Well, it's money and the availability of equipment and manpower and that sort of thing. So,
Natalie, what is it that the people fear, or what's your concern if hazardous waste is not disposed of properly? What's the scenario that you really worry about?
well, there are very many different aspects that we want to guard against. We certainly don't want flammables and those kinds of products to end up in the trash, in the garbage. You know, fire trucks can catch on fire. We also don't want those kinds of products to be dumped on the ground, which, you know, we know they'll eventually end up in our drinking water. Our aquifer is extremely fragile, so we want to make sure that we keep our drinking water safe from contamination. We don't want these items to go into the sewer. Our wastewater treatment plants don't need to be treating.
They're not oil treatment plants.
Well, we don't need to be taking out materials and contaminants and substances out of our treatment plants that don't need to be treated.
Rick,
So-
what do you concerns you most about this hazardous waste if it's not disposed of properly?
Well, I think, you know, just echo what Natalie said, and you know, we hopefully can keep people from pouring it out around their fences, the old oil like some of us all used to do to control briars. We hope that that mindset is gone by making this household hazardous waste facility available. The chemicals not being stored around the house. I know I've been involved in Jim before that in the Amnesty Day since 1995, and you know, this started out where we felt like, you know, a couple of years everyone I have their garage is empty, and you know, when we used to have 200, 250 vehicles at two different sites per day, and this past year we had over 500 people in the South End, 500 vehicles come through that dropped off materials there during that Amnesty Day. So, you know, people buy these things and use just a little bit of it and put it on the shelf. We don't want it to sit there just like, you know, she said, it's a burn hazard, it's a poisoning hazard, and certainly could get in our aquifer if you put it in, you know, if you have a septic system of your own, it's going to be in the water system. If you put it in the sewer, the treatment plants are not really geared for all of that type material. Yes, they clean it pretty good, but that's not, you know, exactly what they're geared for.
Right.
And also we need to keep it and dispose of it and be able to send it to someone that can dispose of it properly or reuse it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what happens to most of the household products that are turned over to you guys? Are they put in where they're being able to be reused? Jim?
Well, we don't have a reuse center. There are counties in the state of Florida that do have that, called Swap Shop. We have refrained from that just again because of liability. But I mean, that is an option. There is a lot of stuff that does come in that can be reused, but there's a lot of stuff that comes in unless it remains in an unopened condition. There's no guarantee that it is what they say it is, or that they have not mixed something else in it. So the majority of what we collect is sent out through a licensed hauler for disposal or treatment, such as that. We have some innovative projects going with latex paint, where we're capturing latex paint, seeking to create a niche market for that in a roofing system with a company in South Carolina. But that's an ongoing thing, and it's nothing that has fully developed where it could open the door for other programs to channel their waste latex paint in that direction. So.
All right. If you just tuned in, thanks for joining us. I'm Lloyd Patterson. We're here with people from various agencies around Northwest Florida who deal with recycling and picking up our waste, our household waste. Good grief, Americans sure produce a lot of it. We have something we can show you here that U.S. Produces about 1,600 pounds per person. That should be per person in the United States, and the U.S. recycles about 28% of the total amount of goods that come into the house. Does that sound about right to you, that we're up to about 28% of the, that's pretty good compared
that's
to,
pretty good, yes.
from maybe 10 years ago, what would you think it would have been then?
Probably in the, what, 18% range?
Probably.
Somewhere there,
Probably.
15 to 18%.
Now, the full screen there also mentioned glass, and glass takes a long time, but it's not a big concern to these guys. One thing that's really interesting that's going on in Santa Rosa County, they're using well, you tell us about it, Rick. You guys have a glass crushing facility.
A pulverizer, is what we call it, Lloyd, yeah. And we were able to get a grant through the Impact 100 program here in Escambia County, and to buy this pulverizer to be able to break up the glass. And as you see there, it looks really pretty right there, and it looks really nice in yards. We've done a project at our administrative complex, and with this glass, it can be sorted by color. Some of the blues, you know, people really like the blue or the different colored greens, or you know, some brown, but it does real good job in landscaping, and we hope to keep this glass out of the landfill. The market for glass, you know, glass is made from sand, and that's a pretty inexpensive resource that the glass manufacturers have, and also, you know, everything going to plastic and metal containers too. It's cut down on some of the glass. But it's hard to get rid of it any other way, and for several months we did not recycle glass. And through this program, you know, we did over 100,000 pounds of glass last month, in our first month of being able to distribute it and get rid of it, and are glad to see that happen. It saves landfill space, and when we talk about landfill space, we're talking about, you know, space for garbage and things that has to go in there.
We have one of the pictures shows how this is used as a yard decoration or for landscaping at the administrative building in Santa Rosa County, and it really looks nice. I can see where there'd be a good market for this crushed glass, and it's not sharp, is it? You can pick it up.
You can actually pick it up. Some of the brochures that the pulverizing company sends us shows children in diapers walking around a playground under swings and stuff, and you can pick a double handful of it and rub it. You can walk on it barefooted. Yeah, the edges are knocked off of it. It's almost rounded, the big gravel part, and it makes a real nice sand, a fine sand. You can change the grates in it to get the different type material, the different sizes of material, and so, you know, that sand, it's the same thing. It's not there's no sharps in it.
And
it's
so
very nice.
Natalie and Jim can stop by your place and pick up all they want of this glass. Is that the way it works?
Well, not quite yet. We are through the grant program. We're in a 6-month period that we have to make it available to the community, free of charge. We've asked the residents of Santa Rosa County to keep it to a 2 5-gallon bucket maximum. And we've had, like I say, 103,000 pounds here that has moved very quickly.
Do you have some available now?
We do have some available now. It's available at our Clean Community System office, which is on Park Avenue in Milton. And we try to keep, we've got some sand there and some of the gravel. It makes really nice landscaping material, does a great job. It's there, it's going to stay in place. And as you could see by that picture there, it's pretty, you know.
Free landscaping of recycled materials. How can you top that, Natalie and Jim?
I think it's a great opportunity, and if I were a resident of Santa Rosa County, I'd be there.
Anything like that in the works for either of your counties?
Well, not with glass, but in terms of a landscaping material, we manage the yard waste operation. All the yard waste that's collected in Okaloosa County is brought to our facilities, one in the North County, one in the South County, and we grind that material into a mulch-sized material. However, due to the plastic bags that's in that mix, it's really not a product that you would want to take home and put in your flower bed or anything because of the plastic. However, we do have an innovative grant that we've been working on in the last 2 years to remove the plastic and do a beneficial market analysis. and that's ongoing. Actually, we've just received an extension to move it from the end of June to the end of September, wherein we will evaluate the the markets that are there for that material, and it has a lot of potential. We remove the plastic, we screen it, we come up with we primarily focusing on the fines that are a product of that process, and we will make that available to local residents.
Is are any of the recycling of the papers, the plastics, the glass, are any of them going to become economically viable? Do you think they're going to pay for themselves at least? Natalie?
It's kind of a balancing act. I think some items are in demand at certain times, and it's kind of an always fluctuating, flowing kind of dynamic. Glass is, as mentioned previously by Rick, there's not much of a market for glass, but whereas paper can be in demand at certain times, it goes up and down. So I think it sort of evens out. There's a balance, and we try to go for a goal is to try and make the recycling program at least pay for itself, so that we can offer the service and help the environment, and of course, do the right thing all around.
Yeah. Rick, are you making anything from any of your recycling efforts?
No. In my experience, it has not paid for itself. If you factor in the fact that you're saving airspace, you're creating more room in the landfill, you are saving space, you're keeping materials out of the landfill, they're being reused and recycled. If you factor in that amount, yes, it pays for itself. And as Natalie said, it's the environmental right thing to do, and morally it's the right thing to do, is to recycle. And if people do not recycle, if they'll just a thing I used to do with kids is get you a bag of your garbage that you use, say if it takes you 3 or 4 days, and get you 2 bags and put what is garbage and put what you can recycle. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised that probably about 60% of it is going to be recyclable materials, and about 40% of it is going to be garbage, somewhere in that. So, there's a lot of materials that could be kept out of the landfill that we all put in the landfill.
Right. I think that customers of Emerald Utilities have found that for themselves since you've instituted this program now more than a year ago, where you have the 2 cans, one for recyclables. People are probably putting less stuff in their garbage bin, aren't they, Natalie?
Yes, it's been a very successful program, and it continues to be so. We're very excited about some of the calls that we get. Customers are telling us that they are so surprised that the recyclables are growing every week, that they are putting more and more in their recycling container, and they're surprised that they were afraid they wouldn't have enough in their garbage pickup once a week to satisfy their household's needs. We're thrilled that we'll be able to include glass in our recycling beginning in August.
Beginning in August, people will be able to put glass bottles in the regular recycling can.
Yes.
Okay, so that's another step that you're
taking. You heard it here first,
okay,
Lloyd.
Little by little, your program is growing and growing, and each of you sees improvement from year to year. Although you still have you look at it, you have a long way to go, don't you?
Yeah, we have some things that actually work against recycling, and that's, for instance, in our county and others around the state, it's difficult to encourage people to recycle when they have such an opportunity to throw it away. For instance, we have 2 garbage collections a week as part of the service. 2 garbage collections, 1 yard waste, 1 recycling, 1 bulk waste pickup in the residential service. The garbage containers are 96 gallons, so you're picking up, 192 gallons of garbage. You're giving them 192 gallons of capacity for garbage and 18 gallons capacity for recyclable. So, we've got to shift that, and we're looking at that currently in our county, is how we can incentivize recycling, provide more of an opportunity for people that want to recycle. We've gone to single stream recycling, which has expanded the amount of commodities that can be put at the curb.
Rick, you look ahead, what do you see coming for Santa Rosa County?
Well, hopefully our recycle program is almost exclusively drop center sites. In other words, we have 28 locations throughout the county that we have anywhere from 1 to 5 containers there for people to drop off their material. We do not have any, at this time, very few curbside programs. There's some in the south end that the haulers have started themselves, and as Natalie pointed out, they use once per week garbage pickup and once per week recycle pickup. Hopefully that's going to catch on, and in the Pace area as well, they're doing some of that. Santa Rosa County, economics controls so many things, as you said earlier. It's not been feasible, I guess, in Santa Rosa County to franchise our county and be able to control what the haulers are able to do and contract with them and say, hey, we're going to put part of this contract is going to be you're going to furnish curbside recycling in our county. City of Gulf Breeze has really done well with it over the years. They've had a good program, but they've charged a little more for their sanitation collection, where the rest of the county has not been where we could control it. Mm-hmm. And it's there you've got 4 or 5 different haulers going in subdivisions during the week and things like that. So
around the country, what models do you look at? Who's really doing a bang-up job with the recycling program as you look around other states and municipalities? Natalie, is there any examples that everybody says, boy, I wish we could be more like so-and-so town?
Well, I like to think that we're pretty proud of the job we're doing, but I do know that we've looked at many different communities throughout the country, and one that stood out was Cherry Hill, New Jersey, where they have actually a reward program for their recycling efforts, and that's something that we've looked at and we're evaluating.
Wow.
So we'll see.
Rewards as in?
It's kind of like a frequent flyer program for recycling.
Okay.
But it's very involved, and so that's something that we're looking at and just seeing if it would be applicable to our community and our climate and the temperatures that we deal with.
Natalie Bowers from Emerald Coast Utilities Authority, thank you very much for being here. Rick Harris, Santa Rosa County, and Jim Reese from Okaloosa County. We appreciate your being here. We have some addresses that you will definitely want to check out. Very easy to find, ecua.org. Go Green Okaloosa, Recycle Santa Rosa Clean, and of course EPA has a lot of good recycle information. Thank you very much for watching our program this evening. I'm Lloyd Patterson for WSRE, PBS for the Gulf Coast.